So, I got permission from Kathy to tell this story. Pete, positive, imaginative. Pete has the ability to make wonderful monsters. No matter what idea you give to Pete, it's going to blow into something huge. Early on in Milpitas High School, we finally had a graduating class, and so now you can have homecoming because there's a class out there and they can come back. That was this wild opportunity for Pete, and he's the activities director. So we're going to have all class competition, and we're going to have a parade, and come on, the game. And I thought, that's a great idea. Have some colored T-shirts and a little competition maybe. The band would be out there in front. What a neat thing. Well, Pete never stopped there. Pete on his own goes out and to the farmers, and he finds these hay trailers, these big things. They're like 10 by 20, and they're monsters. And then he goes out and he talks 4 fire stations, clearing out the internal where they store, the big trucks or whatever, those fire engines, and cleared it out. And so each one and each class had a float to build. So they drew up plans, built on these things. These things have wood so they can nail into them. I don't remember what the other ones were like, but the class I was identified with, we wound up with a boat that was 3 stories or 3 decks high and 10 feet out beyond either end of the trailer. And then when we were in the parade, there were kids, waving on every deck of this thing, all due to Pete. And Pete would go around, and he was just like an absolute joyful bumblebee going to these 4 flowers, because he loved these kids, and he loved these people. And there was nothing greater for him than to run around and talk to and stimulate and encourage. Anyway, it was a fantastic thing, but talk about building a wonderful monster. That was 2 weeks. Teachers didn't get much done because the kids were all down there at the fire station. Okay, that's enough other than. I want to ask you to do me a favor. This is sort of unusual. I'm taking a risk, but I don't think it's a big risk. I mentioned that when I get with Pete, I wind up with these feelings of safe and important and valuable. My hunch is that a number of you know just what I'm saying, and somehow or other, you can think of a time, maybe a lot of them, but just you can think of a time when, because of your contact with Pete, or something that Pete had connection with, it influenced your life, so that somehow or other your life is richer or better or both. And here's the risk. If you can think of a time like that, I'm not going to ask you to say what it is, but what I would like you to do, I'd like you to stand up. Would you do that? I know that's an unusual thing. That's what I thought. Wow. Thank you. Now, the reason I asked you to do that was mainly for the family. So the kids, talk about legacy. You are part of that legacy. We are part of that legacy. And like I said, I love Pete Galde.